Hey guys, how you doing today? So, if you're tuning into this video, you're probably wondering, how can I be a better healer? So that's what this video is going to be focusing primarily on. So we're going to hit some pretty key tips on, I'm not going to do like a class guide, I'm just going to kind of do some things you should really think about while you're healing, and it's probably going to improve your gameplay. And if you're struggling right now and you're trying to become a better healer on whatever class you're healing on, well, maybe I have that healer and maybe I can make a guide for you on that class specifically. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these tips. Alright guys, for the first tip I got, so we're just going to kind of go over a few things. So if you're losing arenas and you're healing, it's kind of discouraging because your only job is to keep your DPS alive. And I know they say DPS is hard to do, but healing is also hard to do because you have to constantly be aware of your positioning, what cooldowns you have, what cooldowns the other team has, who's fixing to burst and when they're gonna burst. You got to be dodging kicks. You got to doing all kind of stuff. And it's really fast paced. So it's like chess, but a live game of chess. So every move you make, there's a consequence for your move, or you're gonna get something beneficial out of it. So first thing we're gonna start off with that will really help you because sometimes, like say you play Resto Shaman or anything that really has to hard cast. Fake casting is probably the best thing ever. What I do when I fake cast, so I like kind of flash it like I'm gonna do it. It's get about 0.8 seconds and then just kind of kick over. Or if you have a stop casting bind, that works too. But so if I'm getting trained and like I know I have to heal and they know they can put pressure on me and kill me, I'll always use like the fake cast method to try to bait a kick out. It really works pretty well. If you can get, if you're fighting a Resto Shaman and like a Rogue or something like that, and they got kicks, or you're fighting a Lock, they got 3 kicks if you're fighting with the healer that has a ranged kick. But if you can get a couple of those out of the way, by just doing nothing, like say, like for my Shadow Priest, I'll let them kick Shadow Mend all day because Shadow Mend doesn't heal that much. And then once they kick me on Shadow, I just sit there and spam Clarity of Wills and build a shield up. So it's pretty easy to kind of counter a kick on a Priest. But for like a Shaman, you get kicked on anything. Say you get kicked on your healing wave or whatever you're doing, you're kind of locked out for like the next 4 seconds or however long. So that's tip number 1. So that was fake casting. Just remember 0.8 seconds, move left, move right. It doesn't have to be 0.8 seconds. Just kind of like act like you're about to cast this, and generally you want to do it in like a key time. So like say you're getting trained, you're gonna want to like the first couple casts, just try to bait a kick. If you can't, well, you just kind of gotta go for it, because if you sit there and just do this all game and they're like, I'm not gonna kick it, they're just gonna waste time trying to heal people, and you're not gonna get any actual heals out, and they're just gonna die due to the fact that you try to fake cast the whole time. But on to the second tip. So my second tip on being a good healer is knowing your positioning. So I'm not in an arena, but I can kind of give you like a brief overview. So if you're in the middle of the map, really you don't need to be in the middle of the map unless you're trying, like a druid trying to cyclone. My biggest tip is to always play scared in arenas. Like you want to play scared until you guys can kill or whatever you're trying to line up a CC chain. Other than that, you should not be running next to your DPS, like unless you're a pally with wings, or you're literally like a melee base here, like a fist weaving monk, or a melee wings paladin or something like that. You should not be in the middle of the battle there, because all they have to do to get to you is just literally simply they can hodge you, they can fear you, they can kick you if it's like a paladin doesn't have a ranged kick and just walk 2 steps over and kick you. DK, he can get you with a ranged kick. I don't know what the yard, I think it's like 15-yard range kick, but either way, you should be like, say this is me, like your DPS is right here, you should be somewhere back here somewhere, just hanging out, healing. Like say there's a pillar right here, you come out, you heal, you go back, you come out, you heal, you go back, you come out, you heal. Just don't be putting yourself out there, because if you're up here and the battle's going on right here, then the DPS can get you, and their healer can push up because you're in a bad spot anyway. And then he can CC you, and then whoever you're fighting can literally hard swap on you, make you pop cooldowns if they're gonna burst on you. And it's really kind of, there's always bad repercussions. I've never done really good when I find myself in the middle of the map on any of my healers. That's why I play scared until I know we're about to get something, and then I come in there and we compromise on their mistakes. Say if their healer's in the middle and he's at bad positioning, you really can exploit him for that. So you just got to really think about that. Always remember your positioning. It really plays a part in arenas. So let's go on to tip number 3. So for the third tip, we're going to go into what you should do when the game first starts. Now, a lot of people, I see it happening, like, okay, so the game first started, your healer, like the healers I played with that aren't that great, they'll literally just, the game will start, and during the beginning of the game, people are trying to, like, global people, they're not really, especially the low ratings, they're not really thinking about, like, the long-term game. They're thinking about what they can do in that little bit of time. So, the start of the game is kind of like, let's see what cooldowns we can get. So, what they'll do is they'll come out and try to Mongo you right there, pop burst, anything they can do to just do as much damage as possible. And so what you don't want to do as a healer in the first 10 seconds of the game is try to set up CC, unless that's what your class is like really heavy reliant, like say you're doing 3s or something like that and you need to set up a CC chain. I would not recommend going out in the first 10 seconds. Say if you I play with the druid sometimes and he has trouble healing me, and it's like, what I'll see him do is he'll go out there and he'll try to get CC right off the bat. So he'll try to go for a bash or a clone, and I'm not gonna the odds of me killing somebody on the classes that I play in the first 10 seconds of the game are very low. So if you can't, your DPS that you're with can't global somebody in the first 10 seconds of the game, don't worry about that, man. Just sit back and let the other DPS pop CDs, and you just constantly casually DPS until they use a defensive. Like say you're playing DK and he pops his AMS and you're a paladin and you haven't bursted yet. That's a really big one right there, because you're going to get some healers cooldowns. If you're running like Crusade or something like that, you're going to get big cooldowns out of the healer in the in game there. So always make sure your DPS is doing good. Go for healing over CC. Like if he's about to die and there's nothing that he's about to get, just back out trying to get CC and get those heals back. That's really all you gotta do. I mean, because if DPS dies, then the game's over. So you really gotta think hey, is my DPS about to die? And in that situation, you just focus on healing your DPS. Don't push something that's not there. If there's not a kill there, don't push for it to be there. Yeah, you can throw some CC on other healers casually just to kind of get some harassment in there, but don't put yourself in harm's way by trying to go for CC when your DPS is low, because you want to keep him up as long as you can. But let's go on to tip number 4. So far we went over fake casting, positioning, the do's and don'ts as a healer. Now I'm going to get into the cooldown trading. So like I said, arenas are like a big game of chess. You always want to be trading cooldowns. So I mean, if you don't have to trade cooldowns, don't. But if a rogue pops Vendetta and there's nothing you can do, as a priest, I might pop my dome or something like that just to kind of get some damage reduction in there. That's 25% reduc. If that's not enough, I mean, I can life grip or something like that. I can pull them in close, or I could pop rapture and just keep the constant shields going. So if you got a little CD that can kind of counteract, like a druid has iron bark. So if you can't top him off as a druid, like your hots aren't running, not healing enough, which generally, because Vendetta is pretty broken and most bursts in the game right now are broken, so you kind of got to train a CC or a CD for that to keep your party member up. So if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. And with that, it's going to work the same way back and forth. So if you trade a cooldown, they're trading their burst for your defensive type thing, and then let your DPS know, communicate with him like, hey, don't pop wall, I got you with some my defensives. Unless he wants to pop his wall, and you can save your defensive for later on in the game. It's really just about how you guys want to play it. Like if you're in voice, you can really coordinate what's going on. The healer's gonna be aware of the damage, and it's just preventing the damage, and that's how you're gonna win at the end of the day. Like healing isn't hard. You just really gotta. I have some videos on my channel if you guys want to watch how kind of I heal on my classes, like my druid and my monk. So if you want to check that out, you can. And you can learn about the way I do my positioning. So other than that, guys, this is kind of just some quick tips on how to become a better healer. Definitely get you up there, and use these tips. Think about what I'm saying as you're healing your next arenas and stuff like that. Make sure your positioning's good. Your team knows where you are. Like if they're going too far, tell them come back. You're overextending. You're putting me in a bad spot. Because you want to control the game really. Like you want to always be in control. So if you need them to pull back because it's pulling you off behind your pillar or whatever, don't let make them come back, because if they keep chasing and they go around the pillar. That's what generally the teams want. They'll try to pull your DPS behind a pillar, and the DPS is generally tunneling because he's not paying attention to really where you're at as compared to where he's at, and he gets caught behind a pillar, he gets stunned, and then here you come running trying to save him, and then you get caught in CC because you're trying to save him, then you're out in the open, then you're in a 15-second CC chain, and your DPS dies. So really got to tell them, like, hey, if you need him to pull back, communicate with him, let him know you got to come back, and that's basically it there. So I hope you guys take some good stuff from this video, and I hope you guys leave me some positive feedback. If you guys want me to do other class guides, let me know. I'll do some in-depth class guides. I've been doing like 10-minute guides, so if you want some more other than that, just go ahead and comment down there. Drop me, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. I do a lot of live streams, so I'll put all that stuff in the description. I might put a couple good add-ons to track kicks and stuff like that, cooldowns and whatever you feel like tracking. But all right, guys, you'll have a good one, and thanks for watching.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.